The legacy you are creating now, without realizing it. What you will transmit. The legacy you are creating now, consciously or unconsciously. Throughout this season, we have explored what you received and what you can do with it. Today, the angle shifts. Not what you inherited, what you are creating. Everyone who has children knows they are transmitting something. But most do not know exactly what. Because the most powerful transmission does not happen in intentional conversations, in explicit lessons, in the things we deliberately teach. It happens in everyday life. In how you respond when you are under pressure. In what you do with money when no one is watching. In how you treat those who have no power over you. In how you react when things go wrong. Newcomers observing, the people you work with, those who love you and learn from you what love looks like. The legacy you will leave is not what you decide to leave. It is what you are doing now, with or without intention. Who are you influencing? A nephew, a younger colleague, someone who is watching you. What do you think that person is learning by observing you? Not what you want them to learn, what they are learning. There is extensive research on the intergenerational transmission of patterns, which we have explored throughout the entire Invisible Legacy series. But there is an angle that is rarely discussed, what we transmit that we do not want to transmit. Anxious parents who want to raise secure children and transmit anxieties unknowingly in 1,000 micro-interactions that were never conscious. People with a difficult relationship with money who want to teach their children to manage finances well and transmit the same fears and beliefs they received. People who have broken family patterns in visible areas and perpetuate other patterns in areas they have never examined. The invisible transmission is not about what you say. It is about who you are when you are under pressure, when you are tired, when things do not go as planned. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist who survived concentration camps, wrote about the difference between what we say we value and what our actions reveal we value. Children, and everyone who observes us closely, read actions, not words. They read them with a precision that often surprises us. You do not transmit what you preach. You transmit who you are when no one is watching. This is the most difficult exercise of this episode, and the most useful. It requires honesty about the difference between intention and reality. Area 1. Response to stress. When things go wrong, or when there is pressure, deadlines, conflict, what do you show? Calm that allows for thought, or anxiety that is transmitted? Irritability that shuts down communication? Suppression that teaches that emotions are inconvenient? What is being learned by those observing you about how you respond when life does not cooperate? Area 2. Relationship with error. When you make a mistake, or when someone close to you makes a mistake, what happens? Is there space for the mistake to be acknowledged without catastrophe? Or is the mistake treated as a character flaw? What is being taught about what it means to not get it right? Area 3. What you value with your time. Where does your time go when you have a choice? Not what you say you value, what you demonstrate you value through where you invest your attention. Work, family, rest, appearances. What is being learned about what deserves time and what is not? Area 4. How you treat those who have no power over you. How do you treat the restaurant worker, the customer service employee, the subordinate when they are failing? This area is particularly revealing because it is where social masks tend to fall. What is being learned about how to treat those who are different, lesser, or vulnerable? Area 5. What you do with what you cannot control. Illness, loss, uncertainty, injustice. How do you respond to what cannot be changed? With agency within limitations? Or with collapse, denial, or unresolved anger? What is being taught about how to live with what cannot be controlled? You need to be honest. and do the work of reducing the distance between what you want to transmit and what is actually coming out. After the inventory, the question that remains is, what can I do differently? The answer begins with an important distinction that research in parenting and intergenerational transmission documents: the difference between transmission by modeling and transmission by instruction. Transmission by instruction: what you say explicitly, the values you articulate, the lessons you intend to pass on, the conversations you have deliberately. Transmission by modeling: what you do, especially when it is difficult, when you are tired, when no one would expect you to be observed. Research is consistent. Modeling has much more impact than instruction. What children, and everyone who observes us closely, absorb the most is what they see being done, not what they hear being said. This has a liberating implication. You do not need to have everything figured out to transmit something of value. A parent who shows how to genuinely apologize is transmitting something about responsibility that is worth more than 1,000 conversations about responsibility. A person who shows how to hold on to their own values when it is difficult is transmitting something about integrity that no instruction can replace. You do not transmit perfection. You transmit process, how to deal with imperfection, with difficulty, with change. And process is exactly what people need to see modeled the most. What is the distance between what you want to transmit and what is coming out? And what would be the first concrete step to reduce that distance? Throughout this series, and the entire Invisible Legacy series, we have explored legacies that were received without choice. What your grandparents left to your parents, what your parents left to you, without full intention, without total awareness, without the possibility of choosing differently, because they never examined what they had. You have something they did not have: this conversation, this vocabulary, this clarity, imperfect, incomplete, but real, about what was installed and what can be chosen. Conscious legacy is not perfect legacy. It is legacy with intention, where what you transmit includes not only your patterns, but also your awareness of them, your work with them, your honesty about where you have failed and where you have grown. And there is something that is transmitted when you transmit this, that is perhaps more valuable than any specific pattern: the idea that patterns can be examined, that what is received does not have to be accepted unquestioningly. That choice is possible, real, difficult, imperfect, but possible. That is the rarest legacy there is. And it is within your reach, not when you are completely resolved, not when you have done all the work. Now, with what you already have, the most powerful legacy you can leave is not what you did. It is what you are beginning to do, by showing how to examine, how to choose, how to live with intention even when the past pulls. This was Season 1 of Visible Choice. 5 episodes about what to do with what you know, about how to distinguish choice from reflection, about what happens when you decide differently, about what is genuinely yours, about how to decide when the past pulls, and about what you are creating now, with or without intention. It is not a process that ends. It is work that is done over a lifetime, with more clarity at some stages, with more resistance at others, with setbacks and progress that are never linear. But there is a difference between someone who does this work and someone who does not. It is not perfection. It is direction. A direction that is more yours than inherited, and that is refined with each choice you make with open eyes. Leave in the comments what you take away from this season. What has changed? What you recognized? What you are trying to do differently? I read everything, and Season 2 starts exactly from what you leave here. That is visible choice. The legacy you are creating now, consciously or not. Visible choice. Season 1. Visible choice, Season 1. What you do with what you know. Season 2 continues where this one left off, but goes deeper. Coming soon. The choice this episode examines is not simple to name, because it was made before you were aware that you were making a choice. It became a habit. It became an identity. It became the way things are. And the first step to choosing differently is to see what was being chosen and why. Visible choice was built to make visible what is always present but rarely examined. That most of what we call choices are better presented reflections. What was taught, what was inherited, what was modeled by specific environments. All of this operates in decisions that seem the most personal and the most free. There is a difference between deciding and choosing. Deciding is what we do when we process information and reach a conclusion. Choosing is what we do when we have real awareness of the alternatives, including the alternative of not doing what we have always done. This series works exactly on that difference. What has been learned about how to make choices can be examined. What can be examined can be questioned. And what can be questioned can, with time and honest work, be replaced by something that is genuinely yours, and not just the echo of what was taught before you had a voice about what to learn. To take away from this conversation, not a 10-step method, but a question that continues to work after this episode ends. Is this choice, the one this episode named, mine? Or is it what I learn I should choose? The difference between the two is not in the outcome. It is in the awareness with which the outcome was achieved.